What up, everyone? What up? So today I'm going to do, still recording. Today I'm going to do part 2 of lead hand punches. So we'll be adding the hook punch and the back fist to the straight shovel and the corkscrew. So those are the 5 main punches for the lead hand, although there is more, as we will do. Hey. I was planning actually to do rear kicking part 2 and a little bit of clarification on the chambered positions for the kicks, but we will cover that when I get back to that subject. Yesterday I did 4 hours on the bicycle, so the legs are kind of shot. So they're okay for footwork, but not for kicking. Okay, so again, what we're going to do here basically is let's just go ahead and work the 5 punches. Okay, so you have the straight, shovel, the corkscrew, you have the hook, and you have the back fist. All right, so there's different ways to throw the hook in the back fist, but these are done in a direct fashion in regards to my hand being in the central location. Straight, shovel, corkscrew, hook, back fist. Okay? So you didn't see any wide movements from right to left. Okay? But later we will get into this idea of what we refer to as a turret. So when my body turns, it sets up different techniques because of the turn. I think you can kind of guess what I'm getting to, but we're not going to do that right now. Okay? So let's go ahead and do 10 repetitions of the 5 punches in the order of straight, shovel, corkscrew, hook, and back fist. So what you should be looking for is a little bit of different footwork. Okay. I just changed the order that time. I threw the back fist. Bad boy. So far I'm just working the straight power line, right up the middle. Okay? And we'll do one more. Alright, so I retreated on all of my steps this time. So, without giving it too much thought, sometimes I was just tap dancing with it, sometimes I was advancing with it, sometimes I was retreating with it. Alright? So I was mixing it up in that way. Alright? Okay, so the next thing that you would want to do is change the levels of your strikes. So we'll go high, middle, and high. Okay? High, middle, and high. High, middle, and high, middle, and high. And then I mix the order up a little bit again, because that's how I do things. And your opponent will not appreciate that, but you will. So you have patterns and you can break the patterns. you have rules and you can break the rules. But there is you have to learn them first. Yeah? All right. So again, 10 reps for demonstration, teaching purposes, 20 normally of everything, and at least 100 to get some kind of a good benefit from your training. All right? I know you guys are going to get tired of me always checking to see if I'm recording. All right, so you can mix up the lines that way, all right? And of course you can mix them up in the opposite fashion to where you go low and high. I meant to say medium, middle, okay? Low could be like into the legs or to the groin. So medium really is the body, okay? So I could go medium, I could go high, all right? I could go medium, and I could go high, all right? Medium, high, medium, high, okay? You can throw 4 or 5 punches, you can throw 3, you should be able to mix them up in that way. I was doing the back fist to the low line, to the groin. Could also be into the solar plexus. Could also be a hammer fist as opposed to the back knuckles. Could also be an open hand, okay? Either the back of the palm or the palm this way, all right? It's just basically a line with interchangeable tools. But again, the idea is that go medium, right? High, medium, low, high, all right? Okay, so you can mix those up in any fashion in regards to the order of the sequence. Okay, or the order of low, middle, and high in regards to your strikes, as well as whether it's just shifting footwork, full step advance, or full step retreat. All right, and so far again we're just working on the straight line. So this is really what I like to call fence boxing. All right, I love to come up with different ways that things make sense to me and give them terms that are quite interesting, at least to me. Okay, so again, to reiterate, you have the vertical straight punch, you have the palm up shovel punch, you have the corkscrew, this is the palm down, or the elbow can snap up. Okay, you have the back fist. All right. So now let's talk a little bit about the back fist. This back fist is thrown from just being off the center. So basically what happens is my arm shoots this way. Okay, but as it shoots this way, it also travels to the target at the same time. So it actually has 2 different lines that it's traveling on sequentially. One is from right to left, and the other one is from left to center. Okay, and again, basically we're talking about the outside edge of the 3 bottom knuckles and not the back of the knuckles, all right? And then again, to talk about the hammer fist, it would be this part here like this, all right? Okay. So you have the 5, and the 5, you create your own patterns. You go from the vertical to the upward, to the downward, to the hook, and to the back fist, okay? Or you can go from the vertical to the corkscrew, to the shovel, to the back fist, to the hook. And you can mix those up in any way that you would like to. But actually they're all pretty straight. Even though this one has a curve, it basically enters straight. Okay, this one has an angle, but it also will end up going straight. Okay, so essentially all 5 of the punches are straight punches. That might not make sense to you now, but maybe it will later. All right? All right, so because we haven't gotten into any angulation yet, basically that's the way that you play with it. 5 punches done in any order, mix them up, sometimes doubling up on them. I could go high, high, middle, high, low, high. All right? Any of that stuff you want to work into your shadow boxing. Again, advancing, retreating, and advancing. Advance, advance, retreat. Shift, shift, shift. Full step, shuffle back. All of that is meant to be put into the mix of the fencing with the hands. All right? And essentially, the hands remain central, but you can go ahead and guard if need be. Okay? This can be into the mix as well. But now you get, when you start doing this kind of thing, basically you're simulating parries or evasions. So you want to know why your hand, your other hand, your guarding hand is moving. You need to have a reason for it. And we will get into that later when we get into deflections and blocking. All right? But so far we're not there yet. So where I wanted to go next with this is some variations on the hook punch. All right? So one of the hook punches is the shifting hook punch, but it's done with rotational shifting. All right? So I could be in a closed stance or I could be in a more open stance. I'll go ahead and go from the more open stance and have my hands pretty much at the same level here, but nice and central next to my body here like this. And again, don't confuse this with this. Okay? It's really very similar to that. All right? So you make yourself a compact unit. And if you need to parry or block, the hands are there. If you need to move, your feet and your structure are always there. So again, basically what we're going to do here is we're going to turn both of our feet to a 90-degree angle. And we're going to send the energy of the hook punch through at that angle. Okay? Now, there's a couple different ways to do this. The primary one that I learned was with the 3 bottom knuckles keeping a slight angle on the hooking line. Okay, but there are other ways to do it as well. Also, the two differences is that whether the hook punch hit and retract back on the same line or goes into an arc. Okay, so those are two different ways to do it as well. I prefer the circular one. Okay. Okay, instead of just coming back this way like this. Okay, but actually turning it up like that. All right. So anyway, your hook punch. Now this is most punches, again, are hand, foot, foot, hand, foot, foot, hand, foot, foot. Okay. I'm going to jump ahead slightly. Okay. And no, I won't do that. But anyway, most punches are hand, foot, foot sequence. But this particular version of the hook punch, actually, you begin turning just slightly before you punch. So actually, this would be foot, hand, foot. Okay? So it's like a sling. Basically, I create a space between my punch and then the punch is pulled across. So instead of the punch being pushed across, the punch is pulled. All right? So that's this is what I want you to get from this, is that the sequence of hand, foot, foot changes to where actually you're going to move your hips and your feet a little bit first. All right? So let's do 10 of these bad boys. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you don't want to overturn your feet, but you're going to have to play sometimes with how far you turn your feet. All right? Because you want to create tension in your body like a rubber band. Okay? And if you turn too far, you'll lose that elasticity. All right? Okay, so. I was going too square, so I had to check my posture back to bladed. I was getting too square this way. One more. Okay, good. Okay, I'll go ahead and keep this closed position for the next two, open position for the next two, and this one will be the side-stepping version of the hook punch. All right. It also could be done in regards to it being step and slide or push step. Okay. And basically the difference again is if I sidestep and I do step and slides, that I clearly step with one foot first and the other one slides, all right? So I could do that with this punch, all right? I also could be hitting on just the first part, the first syllable of that two-syllable step, and then sliding, all right? I also could be waiting until the slide-up part, boom, all right? Or I could push off and let my hand move first, all right? So that's a great example of the three timing factors of before, during, and after in relation to the sequence of hand, foot, foot, or hand, foot, same time, or foot, hand, foot as the third option, all right? So let me go through that again. So we'll go into the step and slide idea, all right? Step and slide. So this is step and slide. So I'm going to hit on the hook punch on the first part of the step and then slide. And actually you noticed I refaced at an angle because my opponent is there, all right? But if you wanted to do it more rudimentary, you simply would keep the same facing and go pop, and then come back again. Pop, and come back again. But more tactically, you would go laterally and then face it at an angle this way. All right? All right, so let's do a few of those and we'll hit on that half step. All right? One, and then we reface on the second step. Two, and then we reface on the second step. Three. So this punch is powered by my mass moving in the direction of the strike. And I'm also gaining a tactical advantage of being off to the side, which you know is my favorite subject. Good. Okay, now I'm going to do one where I hit on the second syllable of that step. All right? So I actually go step and slide. So I'm hitting on the slide. Two. This might be, even though I don't want to get into blocking yet, this might be something like me actually stepping in and crashing to block and then following up with a slide. But I really don't want to get into that yet. So I just gave you a little teaser there, all right? But anyway, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, turn that time, 7, 8, or I could be slipping, 9, see, 10, okay? So really, footwork gives you adaptability, all right? There are some that are better than others, all right? But there are times when you cannot impose that better one on your opponent based upon what's going on. So there's always subsequent backup. And that is based upon your familiarity with having many options in regards to how you step, yet maintaining your structure. Watch out, Boney. I'm going to run your ass over. Motherfucker. Okay, so, and again, the other one basically is a push step. So a push step is more like a jump. And, watch out, Boney, you're going to get hurt. No, by the way, Mike. Okay, so, normally you would be using the rear hand to make a level change so you can load up a little bit to jump, but I'm not going to do it that way. I'm just going to go ahead and jump across. Okay, but this time actually, I'm jumping at an angle. So as I hit, I'm already refacing in flight. By the way, hooks are tight, medium, and loose, okay? That's the other example of variations in your hook punch. Oh, I hurt my shoulder, my other shoulder now. Better chill out and relax. Check my angle here. Okay, see how the push step is more of a jump instead of a step and slide. that you can use those two different beats out of. All right? Okay. The other version of throwing the hook punch is now we'll jump into both retreating and advancing and shifting. All right? So we'll turn this lesson now into kind of ending the lesson on the theme of hook punching. All right? So I'll go back to the closed stance, and I can throw the hook punch, okay, simply by lifting up and setting down my feet. Boom. Okay? I can throw the hook punch by simply turning my rear foot only. Okay? I can throw the hook punch by turning both feet. I can throw the hook punch by stepping left. I can throw the hook punch by stepping in. I can throw the hook punch by stepping back. Okay? I can throw the hook punch by angle stepping, okay, or what we would call the pivot step. Okay? Now, in regards to the closed stance, the same idea is that my opponent would have to move over in this direction, and then basically I just go ahead and go into the pivot step. So we'll work a few of those first. And this is hand, foot, foot still. Remember, he's moving that way. He's moving this way. And I'm simply following him with my head. Boom. Okay? And we get back to what we talked about before. It's only because I'm isolating these punches that I use the progression of coming back to the starting position. All right? But you cannot only practice it that way. You have to do it and come here. You have to do it and bob and weave under. You have to do it and shuffle step back. You have to do it and slip right. Okay? And of course you have to do it to do attack by combination, to initiate grappling and takedowns, or whatever, or kicking. All right? Punch, kick, punch, kick. All right? So again, we're just isolating this, but it is meant to be put into it all. It all has to work together. Okay, the other way to do the pivot step, whether it's a closed or open stance, is to do a pivot retreat. Okay? And the pivot retreat, I'll go ahead and open up on this, means we're in pretty tight, pretty much face to face here like that, and that I want to give some ground to gain some distance and to power my strike. And I'm doing this backward angle one, but it also could be off to the side as well. Okay? So we'll concentrate on the backward angle because it's the most difficult to kind of hardwire into your system as you're not used to this kind of footwork. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That time I pivot stepped twice, and I'll do that again. The body head. Okay? Or I go head body. Okay? All right, so that's your retreating pivot step. So yeah, the hook punch, well, the footwork gives all of your tools that versatility that you need so that you can really claim adaptability in your stand-up fighting. All right? Adaptable means attacking and defending many different angles and moving on many different lines, with subtle movement, with medium movement, and with a little bit larger movement. All right? So that's the kind of adaptability we're looking for. Okay? So a quick overview. straight, shovel, corkscrew, hook, back fist, okay? High, middle, high, middle, high, middle, high, low, high, middle, high, all right? And then the hook punch variations from closed stance, rear foot only turns, both feet turn, step left 1 and 2, step left push, push step advance, simply lift up and set down the feet, shuffle retreat, and shuffle retreat with the pivot step, and advance with the pivot step. So there's a few of them right there to play with, okay? Again, the example today was the slightly angled elbow down to allow for impact with the 3 bottom knuckles for a very direct line and strong punch structurally as not to damage your hand. Okay? All right? That is the primary one I learned, and there is others as well. Okay, guys, so that about covers it for today. And see you in a couple days. Cheerio. Angawa.